Jesse Weber, a lot of support now, I should say some support now, coming for Jordan Willis, saying, why is everyone blaming him?
It's a fair question, considering these three men died outside of his property and he didn't see them. But now we're learning more details about apparent abuse that he had and why he might have been stoned. Look, I think this raises a larger issue that we see in a number of different cases where you know why we have gag orders, you know why we have police not saying certain things, because theories come out and these conspiracy theories comes out and these rumors come out and it taints an investigation that is still ongoing. We still don't have all the answers here. I get the emotions. I get the rush to judgment. We still don't know exactly what happened, but at the same time, having the second perspective about who Jordan Willis is, I think as well.
And Geraldo, here's some more of what this friend told Fox. This is number 5, explaining why he didn't know that his friends were dead in the backyard. Anyone who can't imagine how he could have been totally out of it and sleeping and not aware of his surroundings for 2 days is fortunately not familiar with what a drug and alcohol bender looks like. What do you make of it?
I get that, but if this was in Texas, would Jordan, be charged with a triple homicide right now, as opposed to in Missouri? The cops are saying there's nothing, there's no here.
Well, we don't know that he's the one who gave it to them, right? We don't know that he gave it to them. Yeah.
Well, then it would be felony murder that he was consuming at the same with everybody. You know what I'm saying is, when you go down going back to the Texas case, when you go down that slippery slope where you have these, where they're clearly not the dealers, by all accounts. They're not the neighborhood dealer, and they're consuming. When you start criminally charging everybody with these very, very severest life sentences, felonies, you're going to get this kind of result. Now, as to his exculpatory statements, a good guy, bad guy, I could definitely see how a stoner could let his friends walk out into the blizzard, and everybody falls asleep, and they're outside. They die. He survives. I get that. I don't accuse him of intentional homicide, but in this area, I've been covering drugs since 1970, since before the Nixon declared war on drugs. I've seen people die in every kind of situation, from every kind of cocktail you could think of. And when you start taking the victims and making them the perpetrators, you go down Jesse makes fun of my slippery slope, but it is that. You should save law enforcement. Maybe Missouri's doing the right thing. I'm not sure. But you should save law enforcement for the real bad actors, the people who are wrecking our society. These were sloppy drunks. What they did is a tragedy. I feel sorry for their families. They went to cheer on a football team, and they ended up frozen ignominiously in a snowbank. And the families are furious. This is Jennifer Marquez. This is number 8, the mother of Mr. Harrington. Let's listen.
Everybody's furious. Nobody believes this story. None of his friends, none of the families, none of us believe it. Only the police. Only the police are saying that there's no foul play.
You know, Misty, the investigation is ongoing, but how much more can they turn up at this point, right? I mean, they now have the toxicology reports. They now know what was the cause of death. What more investigating can they do?
Yeah, I think, Dan, the central question here, and after having the toxicology reports, that was really step one. And just for the record, optically, this case is very, very difficult for a family member or an average person to understand. So it makes sense that there's a lot of questions, especially from the family members. But the central question here is, where do the drugs come from? Who got them? How were they distributed? Were they manipulated? That's really the central inquiry as far as a law enforcement perspective of where this investigation goes to determine whether or not any charges are warranted under the circumstances.
And by the way, just to be clear, there's been no cause or manner of death that has officially been listed. We can try to take a guess. And by the way, Geraldo, I would never make fun of you. I don't know where that came from. How dare you say that? I would never make fun of you. It's terrible.
Yeah.
That's a slippery slope there, Jesse.
Yes. But look, but you know, whether it's official or not official, the families have been told what the cause of death was. And typically in an investigation, you don't hear the authorities come out and just make pronouncements about cause of death. They typically keep it close to the vest.
True, and let me also add this caveat. Just because it is not a homicide investigation now doesn't mean that it can't change down the line if they get further information.
What is the information they're going to get?
Came from, where the drugs came from. Will we ever get that answer? We may not.
No, look, they could probably get his phone. They could probably do exactly what happened in the Texas case, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Try and piece it together and figure out, is he the one who supplied? For all we know, it could be one of the 3 people who were there who brought the drugs. We don't know.
Right.
And that becomes a critical question, is who got the drugs?
Remember caveat emptor, buyer beware.
Yeah.
It's going back to the beach case with the 2 women and the rape.
Geraldo wants to blame all the victims.
Watch out.
You know. All right.
Watch out what you're doing.
Yeah. All right. Geraldo Rivera, the newest NewsNation contributor. It is so great to have you on the team. Jesse Weber, Misty Marris, thank you. That does it for us tonight. Banfield starts now.